A very warm welcome to Kalang platform. Igniting Curious Mind has on date 3rd June 2026. Let's begin our first chapter. Unit 1, Diversity in Living World. Biology is a science of life form and living process. The living world comprises an amazing diversity of living organisms. Early man could easily perceive the difference between inanimate and living organism. Early man defined some of the inanimate matter wind, sea, fire, etc., and some among the animals and plants. A common feature of all such forms of inanimate and animate objects was a sense of awe or a fear that could have evoked. The description of living organisms, including human beings, began much later in human history. A society which indulged in anthropocentric view of biology could register a limited progress in biological knowledge. A systematic and a monumental description of life form could brought in, out of necessity, a detailed system of identification, nomenclature, classification. The biggest spin of life of such studies have been recognition of sharing of similarities among living organisms both horizontally and vertically. All the present day, the living organisms are related to each other and also to all organisms that ever lived on this earth. Was a revelation that humbled man led to a cultural movement for a conservation of biodiversity. In the following chapter of this unit, you will get description including classification of animals, plants, form of taxonomic perspective. Ernest Mayr, 1904-2004. Born on 5th July 1905 in Kempten, Germany, Ernest Mayr, the Harvard University evolutionary biologist who was being called the Ed Darwin of 20th century, one of the 100 great scientists of all time. Mayr joined Harvard faculty as an arts and science in 1953 and retired in 1975. Assuming the title Alexander Agassiz Professor of Zoological Emeritus. Throughout his early 80 career, his research spanned ornithology, taxonomy, zoogeography, evolution, systematics, and the history of philosophy of biology. He almost single-handedly made a origin of species of diversity, the central question of evolutionary biology that is it today. He also pioneered the currently accepted definition of biological species. Mayr was awarded 3 prizes widely regarded as a triple crown of biology. The Blazon Prizes in 1983, International Prize for the Biology in 1994, the Cafrut Prizes in 1999. The Mayr died at the age of 100 in the year 2004. Chapter 1, The Living World. How wonderful is a living world? The wide range of living types is amazing. The extraordinary habitats in which we find living organisms, be it a cold mountain, deciduous forest, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts, hot spring, leaves us speechless. The beauty of galloping horses, the migrating birds, the valley of flowers, or attacking sharks evokes an air of deep sense of wonder. The ecological conflicts, the cooperation among the members of a population and among the population of a community, or even the molecular traffic inside the cell could make us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. This question has 2 implicit questions within it. The first is a technical one and seeks answer to what living is to oppose to non-living. The second one is a philosophical one and seeks answer to what the purpose of life is. As a scientist, we shall not attempt answering the second question. We will try reflecting on what is living. 1.1 Diversity in living organism. If you look around, you see large varieties of living organisms, be it potted plants, insects, birds, your pets, or other animals and plants. There are several organisms that cannot be seen with your naked eyes, but they are all around you. If you were to increase the area you make observation in, the range and the varieties of organisms that you see around increases. Obviously, if you were to visit a dense forest, you would probably see a much greater number and the kinds of living organisms in it. Each different kinds of plants, animals, organisms that you see represents a species. The number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 millions. This refers to biodiversity or the number and the type of organisms present on Earth. We should remember here that as we explore new areas and even old ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. As stated earlier, there are millions of plants and animals in the world. We know that plants and animals in our own area are by their local names. These local names vary among place to place, even within a country. Probably you would recognize the confusion that would have been created if we did not even find ways and means to talk to each other to refer to organism we are talking about. Hence, there is a need to standardize the naming of living organisms such that particular organisms is known by same name all over the world. This process of nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or naming is only possible when the organism is described correctly. We know to what organism the name is attached to, and this is identification. In order to facilitate the study, the number of scientists have established a procedure to assign a scientific name to known organism. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, scientists' names are based on an agreed principle and criteria, which are provided in International Code of Botanical Nomenclature (ICBN). You may ask, how are animals named? Animal taxonomists have evolved International Code of Zoological Nomenclature (ICZN). Scientific names ensure that each organisms have only one name. Description of any organism should enable people in any part of the world to arrive at the same name. They also ensure that some such names has not been used for any other known organisms. Biologists follow universally accepted principle to provide a scientific name to known organism. Each name has two components, the generic name and the specific epithet. This system of providing a name with two components is called as binomial nomenclature. This naming systems given by Carol Linnaeus is being practiced by biologists all over the world. This naming system is used two-word format that has found convenient. Let us take an example of a mango to understand way of providing scientific name better. This scientific name of mango is written as Mangifera indica. Let us see how is its binomial names. In this name, Mangifera represents the genus, while indica is particular species or specific epithet. Other universal rule of nomenclature as follows. The first one, biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from the Latin irrespective of their origin. The first word is biological name, represent the genus, while the second word component denotes a specific epithet. Both the words is a biological name when handwrittens are separately underlined or printed in italics to indicate their Latin origin. The first word denotes the genus starts with capital letter while the specific epithet starts with a small letter. It can be illustrated with the example of Magnifera indica. The name of the author appears after specific epithet at the end of biological name and it's written in an abbreviations form. Magnifera indica Lennon. It indicates that these species are first described by Linnaeus. Since it is nearly impossible to study all the living organisms, it is necessary to devise some means to make this possible. The process is classification. Classification is a process by which anything is grouped into convenient category based on easily observable characters. For example, we easily recognize groups such as plants, animals or dogs, cats and insects. The movement we use any of these terms, we associate certain characters with the organism in that group. What imagine do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each one of us will see a dog, not cats. Now, if we were to think of Alsatians, we know that what we are thinking about. Similarly, suppose we were to say a mammals, you would of course think of an animal which external ear, body has. Likewise, in plants, we try to talk of wheat. The picture in each of our mind will be of wheat plant, not of rice or any other plants. Hence, all the dogs, cats, mammals, wheat, rice, plants, animals, etc. are convenient categories we use to study organism. The scientific term for these category is taxa. You must have recognized that taxa can indicate category at a very different level. Plants also form taxa. Wheat is also a taxa. Similarly, animals, mammals, dogs are all taxa. But you know that a dog is a mammal and mammals are animals. Therefore, animals, mammals and dogs represent taxa at different level. Hence, based on the characteristics, all the living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is taxonomy. Externally and internal structure along with the structures of cells, development process, ecological informations of organisms are essential and forms the basics of modern taxonomic studies. Hence, characterizations, identification, classification, nomenclature are the process that are the basics to taxonomy. Taxonomy is not something new. Human beings have always been interested in knowing more and more about the various kinds of organisms, particularly with reference to their own use. In early days, human beings needed to find the source of their basic needs for food, clothing, and shelter. Hence, early classification were based on the uses of various organisms. Human beings were since long not only interested in knowing more about different kinds of organisms and their diversity, but also the relationship among them. A branch of study was referred to as a systematics. The word systematic is derived from a Latin word systema, which means systematic arrangement of organisms. Linnaeus used the Systema Naturae as a title of publication. The scope of systematics was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. Systematics takes into account evolutionary relationship between the organisms. Taxonomic categories. Classification is not a single step process but involves a hierarchy of steps in which each step represents a rank or a category. Since the category is a part of overall taxonomic arrangement, it is called as taxonomic category. All categories together constitutes the taxonomic hierarchy. Each category refers to as a unit of classifications, in fact, represents a rank and it's commonly termed as taxon. A taxonomic categories and a hierarchy can be illustrated with an examples. Insects represents a group of organisms sharing common features like three pairs of jointed legs. It means insects are recognizable, concrete objects which can be classified. Thus, we're given a rank or a category. Can you name other or such organisms? Remember, a group represents category. A category further denotes rank. Each rank or taxon, in fact, represent a unit of classification. These taxonomic groups, categories are distinct biological entities and not merely a morphological aggregates. A taxonomical study, all known organisms have led to the development of common categories such as kingdom, phylum, division for plants, classes, order, family, genus, and species. All organisms, including those of plants, animal kingdom, have a species as of the lowest categories. Now the question you may ask is how to place an organism in various categories. The basic requirement is the knowledge of characters of an individual or a group of organisms. This helps in identifying similarities and dissimilarities among the individuals of the same kind of organisms as well as of the other kinds of organisms. Species. A taxonomic study considers a group of individual organisms with the fundamental similarities as species. One should be able to distinguish one species from the other close related species based on the distinct morphological differences. Let us consider Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum, potato, Panthera leo, lion. All the three names indica, tuberosum, leo represent the specific epithet, while the first word Mangifera, Solanum, and the Panthera are the genera, represent another higher level of taxon or the category. Each genus have one or more than one specific epithet representing different organisms but having morphological similarity. For example, Panthera has another specific epithet called tigress. Solanum includes like nigrum and Melongnia, none. Human beings belong to species sapiens, which is grouped in the genus Homo. The scientific name thus for human beings is written as Homo sapiens. Genus. A genus comprises a group of related species which has more character in common in comparison to species of other genera. We can say that the genera are aggregates of close related species. For example, potato and brinjal are two different species of both belonging to same genus Solanum, lion Panthera leo, and the leopards Panthera papyridus and the tigress Panthera tigris with several common features. All these species of the genus Panthera. This genus differs from other genus Felis, which includes cats. 1.23 family. The next category, family, has a following group of related genera with still less number of similarity as compared to genus and the species. Families are characterized on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive feature of plant species. Among plants, example for three different genera, Solanum, Pentunia, Datura are placed in a family Solanaceae. Among animals, the genus Panthera, comprising lion, tiger, leopards, is put along the genus Felis genus Felis, cats in the family Felidae. Similarly, if you observe the features of a cat and a dog, you find some similarities and some differences as well, and these are separated in two different families, Felidae and Canidae respectively. Order. You have seen earlier that the category like species, genus, family are and all are based on similar characters. Generally, order and other higher taxonomic categories are identical based on aggregates of characters. Order, being a higher category, is assemblage of families which exhibits a few similar character. A similar characters are less in number as compared to those of different genera included in the family. A plant family like convoluences, Cernaceae are included in the order polynomials, mainly based on the floral characters. And the animal order Carnivora includes family like Felidae and Canidae. Classes. This category includes related order. For example, order Primata comprises monkeys, gorilla, gibbon is placed in the class Mammalia, along with the order Carnivora, which includes animals like cats, dogs, and tiger. Classes Mammalia as other orders also. Phylum comprises animals like fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, along with the mammals constitute the next higher category called phylum. All these based on a common features like the presence of notochord, dorsal hollow neural system are included in the phylum Chordata. In case of plants, classes with a few similar characters are assigned to a higher category called division. Kingdom. All animals belong to various phyla are assigned to the highest category called as kingdom Animalia in the classification system of animals. The kingdom Plantae, on the other hand, is a distinct and comprises all plants from various divisions. Henceforth, we will refer to these two groups as animals and plant kingdoms. Taxonomic categories from species to kingdom have been shown in ascending order starting from species in a figure 1.1. That is, species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom. Taxonomic character from species to kingdom have been shown in the ascending order starting with the species. These broad category, however, taxonomists have also been developed subcategory in the hierarchy to facilitate more sound and scientific placement of various taxa. Look at the hierarchy of figure 1.1. Can you recall the basics of arrangement? Say, for example, we go higher from species to kingdom, the number of common characteristics goes on decreasing. Lower the taxa, more are the characteristics that the members within the taxon shares. Higher the categories, greater is the difficulty to determining the relationship to other taxa at the same level. Hence, problem of classification becomes more complex. 1.1 indicates the taxonomic categories to which some of the common organisms like housefly, man, mango, wheat belongs. Common name man, biological name is Homo sapiens, genus Homo, family Homidae, primata, order, class Mammalia, and phylum, other division is Chordata. Housefly, Musa domestica, Musa, Musidaceae is a family, order Diptera, class Insecta, phylum Arthropoda or the division that's Arthropoda. Mango, Mangifera indica, genus Mangifera, family Anacardiaceae, order Sapindales, class Dicotyledonnae, and phylum is Angiospermae. Wheat, Triticum extivum, Triticum Poaceae, Poales, Monocotyledonnae, Angiospermae. Summary. The living world is rich in varieties. Millions of plants and animals have been identified and described, but a large number are still remain unknown. The very wide range of organisms in terms of size, color, habitat, physiological and morphological feature make us seek the defining characteristics of living organism. In order to facilitate the study of kinds and diversity of organism, biology have evolved. certain rules and principle of identification, nomenclature, classification of organisms. Branch of knowledge dealing with these aspects refers to taxonomy. Taxonomic category studies of various species of plants, animals are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry in general, learning of bioresources and their diversity. The basics of taxonomy like identification, naming, classification of organism and universally evolved under international codes. Based on the resemblance of distinct differences, each organism is identified, assigned a correct scientific and biological name comprising two words as per the binomial system of nomenclature. An organism represents occupies a place of opposition in the system of classification. There are many categories, ranks which are generally referred to as taxonomic categories or taxa. All categories constitutes a taxonomic hierarchy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.